Hi, my name is Erin Wienk. I am a doctoral candidate at Baylor University in the School of Education, and today I am excited to share with you my problem of practice presentation. With guidance from my faculty advisor, Dr. Jennifer Guerrera, I am proud to present my research titled Engaging High School Families to Support Student Needs, a qualitative embedded case study investigating perspectives of Louisiana high school teachers and parents towards equitable collaborations. Throughout the course of this presentation, I intend to lead you through the following agenda. Starting first with a problem statement, I then transition to an overview of the literature review, followed by my study's purpose statement, research question, and theoretical framework. Next, I describe my study's methodology and present an overview of the findings. I then discuss implications and recommendations, limitations, and provide an overview of my distribution plan. Selected references are provided on the final 2 slides of the presentation. It is widely referenced that parents and teachers have a significant impact on students. However, a problem exists in that in United States high schools, too few parents and teachers engage in ongoing collaborative relationships, which hinders schools' ability to equitably support all students. To better understand this problem, I explored current literature and organized my review into 6 sections. First, I presented research describing the impacts of parent engagement with high school teachers, including building trust, addressing systemic inequities, and improving the capacity of schools to support student needs. I then presented literature to support the benefits of equitable collaboration for students, parents, teachers, and the community. Next, I shared recent literature suggesting the need to shift beyond traditional parent involvement to parent collaboration, characterized by shared ownership and commitment towards supporting all students. Fourth, I share common barriers identified in research to establishing equitable collaboration, and then follow up with approaches that support collaboration across all grade levels. Finally, I demonstrate through literature the need for additional research to describe collaboration between parents and teachers, specifically at the high school level. The purpose of this qualitative single case study was to explore how teachers and parents in a northwestern Louisiana public high school describe the goals, strategies, roles, and processes through which they engage in collaborative homeschool relationships. My problem of practice was guided by one central research question. How do teachers and parents describe the goals, strategies, roles, and processes of an equitable collaboration at the high school level? The theoretical framework I used to guide my study was Anne Ishimiru's Equitable Collaborations Framework. The Equitable Collaborations Framework contrasts traditional deficit-based approaches of parent involvement with collaborative approaches in 4 dimensions: goals, strategies, parent role, and process. Widely referenced in literature related to parent engagement, the Equitable Collaborations Framework focuses on understanding that extends beyond blame and requires schools to position parents as expert participants in their child's education. Drawing from concepts of civic capacity and community organizing, the framework presents equitable collaboration as the top level of engagement between schools and families, supporting the systemic capacity of all to better meet the needs of all students. For my study, I used a qualitative single case study design with 2 embedded units of analysis. The first embedded unit was parents of high school students, and the second embedded unit was high school teachers. I selected a single high school site in northwestern Louisiana, which I gave the pseudonym Riverway High School. I first selected 3 parents for the study who met selection criteria, including being a parent of a current Riverway High School student and identifying as in a collaborative relationship with a current high school teacher at Riverway High School. I then used snowball sampling to further select 3 current high school teachers at Riverway High School who also identified as collaborative partners and were recommended for the study by a Riverway High School parent. I collected data in 2 phases. First, participants completed an electronic questionnaire which consisted of providing demographic information, answering open-ended questions, and completing sentence stems. Second, I collected data through conducting semi-structured interviews with all participants. The interviews lasted between 30 to 90 minutes and were conducted either face-to-face or via Zoom, depending on the participant's preference. After collecting data, I followed 5 steps that were guided by research from Cresswell and Poth to analyze the qualitative data. After first managing and organizing the data, I read through the data while memoing emergent ideas. I then assigned codes to the data and later described and classified those into a priority categories selected from the theoretical framework. Next, I developed 4 thematic statements resulting from within case analysis. I then developed and interpreted each thematic statement in alignment with prior literature and the theoretical framework. Finally, I created a visual to represent my findings. Over the next 4 slides, I'll present an overview of the 4 thematic statements I developed throughout the data analysis process and share connections to the theoretical framework and prior literature. The first thematic statement I identified to answer the central research question related to the A priority category goals, aligned with the first dimension of Ishimiru's equitable collaborations framework. I found that parents and high school teachers described the goals of collaboration related to student growth, identifying and preparing the students for future opportunities, and sustaining a shared effort to meet student needs. Aligned with prior research from Durasek and Benjaminuk, both parents and high school teachers describe collaboration as a means to better support student growth in academics, social, behavioral, and mental health needs. Parents and high school teachers also describe collaborating to better identify and prepare students for future opportunities, particularly the transition to independence after high school. Consistent with research from Adams and Christensen suggesting that parenting relationships change as students transition into high school, both parents and high school teachers identified that a goal of collaboration at the high school level was to help prepare students for their next academic or career opportunity. Parents and high school teachers also described engaging in collaboration to sustain a shared effort to meet student needs at the high school level. Parents and high school teachers in my study described one another as partners, teammates, and active supporters of student needs, aligning with Fenton et al.'s study suggesting that both parents and teachers need to see each other as accountable for meeting student needs. Aligned with the theoretical framework, I found that these goals that parents and high school teachers described, student growth, identifying and preparing students for future opportunities, and sustaining a shared effort, all support positive student outcomes as a result of the shared responsibility between families and schools. My second finding aligned with the second dimension of the theoretical framework, strategies. I found that strategies that parents and high school teachers describe in an equitable collaboration include active communication, accessible information, and authentic relationships. These strategies described by parents and high school teachers align with Ishimiru's findings, suggesting that strategies that support collaboration intentionally strengthen relationships and build the capacity of all stakeholders to address educational inequities facing students. Both parents and high school teachers described active communication as a strategy that facilitated their engagement in collaboration. Consistent with literature from Rogers et al., Kraft and Rogers and Schiller, I found that parents and teachers both saw open, honest, and frequent communication as a strategy that better enabled them to meet student needs. Parents and high school teachers also described how access to information was a strategy that helped them stay better informed and prepared to support student needs. Finally, I found that parents and high school teachers both described how forming authentic relationships supported their engagement in collaboration at the high school level. Parents and high school teachers used words like honest, selfless, genuine, trusting, and caring when describing authentic relationships that they had experienced. Adding to prior research from Schiller, I found that parents and high school teachers felt engaging in authentic relationships welcomed collaboration between parents and high school teachers. Interestingly, my finding contradicted prior research from Harpaz and Christine, suggesting that declining parent involvement at the high school level suggested a lack of willingness to engage in collaboration. Instead, I found that the quality and authenticity of relationships and interactions between parents and high school teachers was far more important than the frequency of the involvement, suggesting that collaboration is an ongoing process that could require different levels of involvement depending on specific student needs. Aligned with the third dimension of the theoretical framework, I found that parents and high school teachers describe the parent role in collaboration as sharing knowledge, while parents also describe their role as providing perspective, and teachers describe the role of parents as remaining open to engagement. In this finding, I specifically focused on how parents and high school teachers describe the parent role, aligned with the importance Ishimiru assigned to families taking an active participatory role in collaboration with schools. Both parents and high school teachers describe that parents share knowledge about their child that improves the capacity of teachers to meet the needs of individual students. This finding aligns with Schiller's prior research, suggesting that collaboration with parents provides teachers with additional knowledge about students that can influence their teaching practices. Responses also extended research from Matthews et al., adding that when parents share their knowledge about their children, they feel more involved and better positioned to advocate for their child's needs. Parents in the study felt that it was their role to provide their perspective to teachers when facing challenges or making decisions that would influence their child at school. This finding aligns with the third dimension of the Equitable Collaborations framework, indicating that parents contribute to a more complete understanding of student needs. Teachers in this study felt that a primary role of parents in collaboration was to simply remain open to engagement with schools to meet student needs. Similar to the previous suggestion that the rate of involvement is not indicative of a positive collaborative relationship, high school teachers valued parents who were receptive, responsive, and ready to engage should a need arise. Aligned with Kelty and Wakabashi's finding that parent engagement changes and evolves as a student matures into adulthood, teachers saw the role of parents in collaboration at the high school level as reflecting the independence and needs of individual students. My fourth and final thematic statement aligns with the fourth dimension of the Equitable Collaborations framework, in which Ishimuro describes collaboration as a process that supports systemic change through addressing broader issues in the community. In my study, I found that parents and high school teachers describe collaboration as a process that creates connections, while parents also describe fostering empathy and teachers describe an increased capacity to serve. Both parents and high school teachers described how collaboration strengthens connections between families, schools, and the local community. Aligned with prior research from Epstein and Budd et al., participants described how collaboration strengthened their relationships and broadened their views about those within the local community. Parents described that collaboration fostered empathy towards individual students in the local community. When describing their experiences in collaboration with high school teachers, parents discussed an appreciation and awareness of diverse perspectives. High school teachers described how collaboration with parents increased their capacity to serve within the local school community. Aligned with research from Gerds et al. And Perry and Geller, I found that teachers describe collaboration as a process that enhanced their ability to support all students, extending the positive impact to students even without engaged parents at the high school level. Consistent with the theoretical framework, high school teachers viewed collaboration as a process that influenced how they approach teaching, parent engagement, and student relationships at the high school level. The findings from my study resulted in several implications and recommendations for key decision makers, including parents, high school teachers, educational leaders, and researchers. My findings imply that parents support student needs by forming connections, contributing their knowledge and perspective, and remaining open to collaboration with high school teachers. I recommend that parents take an active role in collaboration at the high school level by attending school and community events and always being willing to engage with schools. Furthermore, my findings suggest that high school teachers support needs by providing clear information, considering alternate perspectives, and building authentic relationships with families. I recommend that high school teachers share information early with families, seek input from parents, and take active measures to build open and honest relationships. My findings have implications for educational leaders at all levels as well. Understanding parents and high school teachers' experiences helps leaders to build a collaborative culture at the high school level, benefiting the overall success of both schools and districts. I recommend that educational leaders provide professional development, including focus groups with parents and high school teachers, while remaining flexible to meet the individual needs of students, families, and educators in their schools. Finally, my findings resulted in several recommendations for future research. Continued exploration into collaboration between parents and high school teachers is needed, with additional consideration into non-dominant groups and exploring how community leaders influence collaboration between schools and families. It is important that I acknowledge several limitations within my study that influence the transferability and generalizability of my findings. First, data collection was limited to participants who were available during the research timeline prescribed by my course schedule at Baylor University. Second, social desirability could have influenced participant responses through a desire to provide socially acceptable answers when describing personal experiences. Third, by nature of my role as an administrator within the district where I conducted my research, it is possible that participants feared retaliation for providing responses that suggested misalignment or distrust with the local school system. And finally, a lack of participation from parents of non-dominant groups limited my ability to explore the experience of underrepresented parents, limiting the study findings through the omission of a significant population of non-dominant parents. To distribute and share my findings with key decision makers, I intend to create an electronic handout for parents describing ways that they can take an active role in collaboration with high school teachers. I intend to facilitate focus groups with high school teachers that will combine professional development focused on building collaborative relationships with opportunities to actually spend time collaborating with parents of their students. Additionally, I will create a recommendations proposal for educational leaders that summarizes key findings, specific action items to build a collaborative culture at the high school level, and my contact information for further consultation and support. Thank you for your time and interest in my problem of practice presentation. I look forward to answering any questions you may have when we next meet.